A 31-year-old junior doctor, she was raped, she was murdered. If you go through her autopsy, it's heinous to say the least. It's sent shockwaves across the country. National anger mounts with doctors taking to the streets pan-India to demand justice in the brutal killings of this young girl with her life ahead of her. She was a doctor, a junior doctor at the RG Medical College, which is a government-owned college. While the CBI has now taken over the probe at the orders of the Kolkata High Court, renowned filmmaker Aparna Sen too joined the protest in Bengal, demanding adequate security for doctors in hospitals, while also questioning why the cops mishandled the probe in its initial stages. Here's more.
Doctors on the road demanding justice for the 31-year-old PG trainee raped and murdered inside a Kolkata hospital. The Calcutta High Court has transferred the investigation in the case to the CBI. The court has directed the police to hand over the CCTV footage and statements collected so far to the central agency. It has also directed Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, the former principal of RG Hospital, to go on indefinite leave. The court questioned the Mamata Banerjee government's decision to appoint Dr. Ghosh as principal at another medical college.
हम चाहते हैं इमीडिएटली जैसे भी हो प्रमाण एटलीस्ट इमीडिएट जुडिशियरी इंक्वायरी करके इसका एडिक्वेट प्रूफ लेके एक्यूज को पकड़ा जाए एंड एक्जम्पलरी पनिशमेंट दी जाए.
More gory details of the crime have emerged from the autopsy report. The post-mortem indicates that the victim was killed by throttling and smothering. Report says that genital torture caused injuries in private parts of the victim. A hair clip was found near her vagina. The report says victim's mouth and throat were constantly pressed to prevent her from screaming. There were severe wounds on the victim's stomach, legs, lips and neck. There was severe bleeding from the eyes and mouth of the victim. The autopsy also mentions deep nail marks on the body and the presence of a broken spectacle and jeans worn by the victim near the body. India Today has exclusively accessed details of the confession allegedly made by the civic volunteer. Sanjay Roy, the prime suspect, during interrogation allegedly told the police to hang him for the crime. Sources say the accused is a trained boxer with a tendency of physical abuse. Roy has a history of domestic violence. He allegedly used to physically abuse his mother, sister and his wives. Sources say Roy was allegedly addicted to disturbing and violent pornography. He had allegedly got drunk and watched porn before committing the rape and murder. The probe has revealed that after committing the crime, Roy returned to the police barracks and slept there. The suspect, a civic volunteer hired by the cops, used to stay in the barracks. The horrific rape and murder has triggered massive nationwide outrage. With Suryagani Roy, Anirban and Rajesh Saha in Kolkata, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, the latest news break that is coming in right now. The Calcutta High Court has pulled up the Mamata Banerjee government as well. I just want to take our viewers to some of the observations of the High Court when it handed over the probe to the CBI. The administration wasn't with the victim or the kin. This is what the High Court has said. The High Court has also said the principal resigned and then immediately assigned to another post. Mind you, viewers, if you remember, the protesting doctors there wanted the principal to step down. He did in fact resign, only to be assigned a very similar post in another medical college. The High Court says no progress in probe even after lapse of 5 days. Possibility of evidence tampering, witness influence. These are the charges that have been made by the High Court. Strong observations there. The High Court also says on or after August the 9th, 2024, prima facie, there has been no significant progress as till date the state police have not arrested any other person who may be allegedly involved in the commission of the offence. The High Court further observes, when the deceased victim was a doctor working in the hospital, it is rather surprising as to why the principal hospital did not lodge a formal complaint. This, in our view, was a serious lapse giving room for suspicion. And viewers, if you remember and you recall, the parents of this young 31-year-old junior doctor were told initially that this was a case of suicide. Adding that to the observations made by the High Court, the question that we're going to be asking this evening. You know, incidents like this happen across the country. The testimony is on how a government actually responds to a situation like that. Joining me this evening is Mohammad Tausif Rahman from the TMC, is the TMC spokesperson, and the question we ask: has the West Bengal government's response to a heinous crime like this been adequate enough? Karuna Nandi, senior advocate, Supreme Court, also joins us. Pradeep Bhandari, BJP spokesperson, in the studio with me. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS officer. Dr. Sushmita Rai Chaudhary, pulmonologist, is with us. We are going to cut across in just a short while also to the students who are still protesting. The students and the junior doctors, viewers, at the RJ hospital, they didn't quite want a CBI probe. What they wanted was a judicial inquiry. They are still sticking by that. They want a judicial inquiry. They want the principal in question, who was assigned a different job. He stepped down, he resigned, but strangely was appointed as principal to a separate institute. They want him removed from there as well. Let's cut across right now to Sanjay Sahai, former IPS officer. Sanjay Sahai, you know, the kind of observations that are coming in from the Kolkata High Court, very, very strong, where they're actually saying there possibly was an attempt to cover up this crime, dress the crime scene as well.
See, first and foremost, your remark saying that most of these incidents happen all across the country is the response of the government, which is critical and on which you will be able to judge the government. I, for one, would add that most of these places, and I have been commenting on these cases for quite some time, most of these places, basically the crime is waiting to happen. So that is the biggest challenge. And if you get into the details of this particular hospital, it is 27 acres, 26 acres of the campus, wherein hardly the CCTVs are there in desolate areas. Unauthorized entry is not taken care. There are people drunk who also enter. Most of the things which I am talking about is a very standard operating procedure in any of the hospitals or safe zone areas. The security evaluation, I don't think has ever been done. There are no washroom for the doctors and a variety of other things which make this as a waiting place for incidents of this nature to happen. Having said that, and I don't know whether this will change or not, we have been talking about campuses and PGs for quite some time and nothing much has changed. Having talked about this, the way this case has been taken up, from a very, very professional point of view and a medico-legal evidence point of view, this is an open and shut case. And if it were to go in any other direction, that would be primarily because of the lack of professionalism of the police, or might be because the forensic evidence has not been gathered when it was supposed to be gathered. And the scathing attack which has come from High Court, that would be after the plea of the state government and the Advocate General pleading on behalf of the government. They have come up with this scathing remark. There is absolutely no reason to doubt even an iota of lack of truth in these scathing remarks. So currently, I think the investigative agency and the people who are responsible for handling the situation, I think they are in the dock. And I just hope and pray that CBI will do a good job. But the issue is that time lost in the initial days, initial hours of investigation, they weigh very heavily when you come to the judicial proceedings, where everything finally turns out technical in nature, legally technical in nature, and things will be decided only on that count and on nothing else.
You know, Mohammad Tausif, right. Make your point, sir. Make your point. Do you want to make another point?
Regarding this transparency and all that,
right.
I still not be able to fathom out or to understand why somebody who is in charge of the Calcutta police or the investigative agency and somebody in the bureaucratic hierarchy, might be a home secretary, or in the political hierarchy, the health minister or so, comes up and interacts with the protesting students. and also tell the media on a regular basis as to what is happening. It has also been alleged that there most likely would be more than one accused. So the Calcutta police is duty bound to tell you whether this is the complete story or something more to the story, or the investigation goes on endlessly.
All right, Mohammad Tausif, I'll bring you in, because many a times it's not that these crimes or the nature of this kind of crime has taken place only in West Bengal. It's happened in many states as well. But ultimately, Mohammad Tausif, you judge a government or a state government on how it's handled the situation, the handling of it. Now, that is where the biggest question mark comes in, Mohammad Tausif, because look at the observations, as scathing as they are, by the Kolkata High Court. They've handed it over, the case, to the CBI, and they've made it very clear that there was complete inefficiency by the Kolkata police in investigating the case. They've spoken of the principal, who was removed and then reinstated hours after that by your government, when at least the junior doctors who are still protesting at the RG Medical College, which is a government-owned college, wanted him removed completely.
Good evening, everyone. Ma'am, we are not above the law, and the Honorable High Court has ordered something and we have to obey that. But, at the same time, it's a bit unfair. I don't understand on what ground, people are alleging that the state is trying to delay and dilute the matter. Neither the victim parents nor the protesters have stated that there was a delay in recording FIR or whatsoever. Beside the prime suspect was nabbed within 24 hours. It is completely wrong to say that the state is defending any individual. This is the same reason why multiple officials have been removed by the state itself, because laxity and indifference has no place in Bengal. We have said this before also, and we are saying this again. Our only aim is for a speedy trial justice for the victim.
Mohammad Tausif, I apologize, I'm coming in. I usually never do that, but allow me this rebuttal, because you says nobody has said it. The High Court has said it, and I can quote the High Court. One more aspect which is very disturbing is the case of unnatural death that has been registered with the Tala police station in this case. It is submitted that under normal circumstances, a case of unnatural death is registered when there is no complaint. When the deceased victim was a doctor working in a hospital, it is rather surprising as to why the principal or the hospital, which is a government-run hospital, did not lodge a formal complaint. It's been said by the High Court, Mr. Rahman.
Ma'am, absolutely. I'm not overjudging anything. I'm not going across anything. I totally agree with you. I totally respect the Honorable Court as well, whatever they have said. And the main agenda is to bring the culprit, behind the bars, and we appeal for the death penalty. We are with the students. We are with the victim's family from day one, ma'am. There is nothing that we are running behind. The Honorable Court has decided to hand over the case to the CBI. You really think that the West Bengal government is egoistic, or we have any problem not to give it to CBI? The only reason we were having a little bit of faith problem with the CBI, looking at the West Bengal case, the CBI has been always biased, especially with the West Bengal people and all the cases. Otherwise, we are very happy. This case is open. We just wanted justice. Anyone can come forward.
Allow me, Mr. Rahman, allow me another rebuttal. You say that you are with the protesters. What is it that the protesters are demanding? One of the points is that Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, who was the principal of this college, hospital, be removed. And be removed from where he was reinstated. Someone who ran an institute as shoddily, where he tried to cover up the crime by saying it was a suicide. You appoint him hours at another medical institute where the students are sitting there demanding that he be taken away. Who is now the new appointee of a principal of the RG Medical College? She is Dr. Suritra Paul, allow me, who is the OSD of the West Bengal Health Minister.
And we do understand this whole principal thing, this whole superintendent thing, and there was a call at 5 a.m. which made a biggest mistake by saying and quoting it that ye to suicide tha. We do understand, ma'am. Nothing has been taken, back foot. We have
why
seen
was
what
the
is
principal
happening.
reappointed, sir? If you understand and if the government understands, why reappoint the principal?
Ma'am, see, now if you see the whole agenda and the whole responsibility was under the principal bench, it's not true as well. We wanted to give some kind of benefit of doubt to the principal, but again,
even before the case concludes,
any individual whosoever, whether it's an inside job or whatsoever, will not be spared at all. This is what the state government is saying from day one. We have nothing to hide. I mean, we just want to express our feeling. I mean, this
Mohammad
is not coming
Tausif,
from a
you have
spokesperson of a
nothing to
government.
hide is what you're saying.
It's
But
not,
just
there's
hear
nothing
the
to hide.
protesters.
Ma'am, the demands coming from the student about this safety is our first priority. And the center has planned, program has been sanctioned. But not to forget, such security labs are at pan-India level. If you see the protest,
Sir,
pan-India level, I mean, these complaints are coming from each and every hospital. This is not just...
Sir,
just
you're
about
right.
Ajita.
Complaints are coming from each and every hospital, but that nowhere does absolve the TMC government in West Bengal of the handling of the situation at hand, sir. And you yourself sat here and admitted to 3 of those lapses, saying you understand them. All right, allow me to move on. Please now allow me to move on, sir. Let me open up the panel. Pradeep Bhandari, BJP spokespersons with me. Pradeep Bhandari, why should we not say that the BJP is trying to milk a tragic situation because you're asking for the Chief Minister to step down? Under that accord, then the Chief Minister of UP should have stepped down in Hathras, in Prayagraj, in Unnao.
Preeti, thank you so much for having me. Preeti, the Mamata Banerjee as the police minister, as the health minister, as the home minister and the chief minister of Bengal and her administration, I question the intent of the entire cover-up operation which is in case in point in Bengal. Now, let me go ahead and say what the Calcutta High Court has said. Now, the Calcutta High Court goes ahead and says, and I quote the Calcutta High Court, the administration was not with the victim or her family. The principal has not even given a statement. Point number 2, the Calcutta High Court says that the principal should have been the first person from whom statement should have been recorded. So Mamata Banerjee goes ahead and makes a statement in the public domain that we will take care of the case till Sunday and after that we could hand over the case to the CBI. But what was the intent of doing so is what your previous panelist had said, that the initial golden period investigation is extremely critical and the idea and the intention was to tamper with the evidence. This is not what I am saying. This is also what the victims believe, and I quote the Chief Justice of Calcutta High Court, without significant progress in the investigation, we would be well justified in accepting the prayers by the victims' parents that the evidence would be destroyed. So the accused who's caught and who's behind bars, he may not be the prime accused who would be responsible in this rape and murder. So point number 1 is, who was Mamata Banerjee and the administration intending to cover up till Sunday where they did not want to give the case to the CBI? Point number 1. Point number 2, I did not interrupt. You spoke for 5 minutes, I did not interrupt. That is point number 1. Point number 2, please note this, what the Calcutta High Court said, which you rightly pointed out, that a case of unnatural death was registered. When it is submitted that such cases are registered when there is no complaint. Here you had the victim, but the intention of the state government was not to register a complaint of the victim in the first moment. It was in fact to bracket as a case of suicide. In fact, media reports suggested that the police officials called the victim to take some amount of money and end the case. So I question who is that prime accused that Trinamool Congress Mamata Banerjee is trying to hide. And let me show you a pattern. What happened in the case of Sandesh Kali? The Bengal government went against the decision of the Calcutta High Court to the Supreme Court. Okay. What did Honorable Justice B.R. Gavai said? You don't do anything for months and you could arrest a person then after days. My question is, we've done multiple debates on Hathras. We can do another show on Hathras, but we can't even spare 40 minutes or 45 minutes to the Bengal's Beti, and these people try to shift the goalpost. I am talking about Bengal and I am talking about the grotesque inhumanity which is happening.
Okay, 1 second, everyone calm down. Let's go one by one. Let's go one by one.
I did not interrupt anyone.
Sir, I'm the moderator. Please allow me. Number 1, Mr. Rahman, I'll come back to you. You'll get equal time. No point interrupting. Nobody can hear anyone. But Pradeep Bhandari, you made those points which were well elucidated earlier on what the High Court said. Number 1 is what the charge that the BJP is making, that the CM should step down. On the same benchmark, then the CMs of the state of UP should have stepped down, which they didn't. If you are quoting scathing observations by the High Court in this, there are scathing observations by the Supreme Court in what happened in Hathras, right? So it's similar in a lot of ways. To ask for a chief minister to step down, why it should not
because
be deemed as playing
intent
politics.
And the objective in none of the other cases was where the Chief Minister personally was involved in a cover-up. Here the Chief Minister personally and her entire administration is involved in a cover-up operation. And let me throw you a pattern. What happened in the case on the case of Park Street? Mamta Banerjee called the entire incident as a fabricated incident. What happened in the case of Sandesh Khali? She said that nothing happened. In all of these cases went to the Honorable Calcutta High Court. In all these cases, the Honorable Calcutta High Court had to step down, and then the Supreme Court upheld the decisions of the Calcutta High Court.
I'd like to get to Mr. Rahman, I'll come back to you. Hold your horses.
This is not fair, ma'am. This is not fair. I mean, you can't do whataboutery today. It's a very sensitive issue. We are talking about, we have lost our daughter. If you are talking about
let's go one by one. 1 second. Let's just go one by one.
Talk about Bhushan as well.
Sir, you've spoken. I'm timing you.
Your sitting MP was sexually. Your sitting MP was under the demand of sexual harassment by the wrestlers. You did nothing. You were sleeping that time. Your Prime Minister, your Chief Minister, your MP, your MLAs were laughing on the wrestlers and the whole federation.
No, this is what about it. No, sir, I want to Mr. Rahman, allow me now to get in. Allow me to get in other panelists. What's not fair, sir? I'm sorry. You're on the hot seat. Please. You've got to feel the heat.
No, it's not about hot seat, ma'am. It's about justice.
Okay,
we are working on the justice.
Sir, you've been questioned on the same.
If you would be caring about justice, you would have completely not promoted the principle.
Just because you're in the studio, it doesn't make...
No, he's speaking on and on and not answering the question.
I'm going to go to the other panelists because I would reckon for the next time it's best that we don't have a guest in the studio then. Let's not talk over each other. I just want to go to Dr. Sushmita Roy Chaudhary, pulmonologist. Dr. Chaudhary, how do you look at the entire situation? Do you see it as being mishandled?
Look, Preeti, I am a doctor who graduated from Kolkata. Kolkata to me is everything. And when I graduated, and even after me, all those people who graduated, we know that Kolkata is the safest city for women. And trust me, we have worked days, months, weeks, years without feeling any fear whatsoever. Hospitals are like our second home. And that is the reason why Kolkata is one place where differentiation between girls and boys is not made in most cases. And that is why we have never felt fear in our city, even if we were returning at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, in spite of all this happening in many other cities in our country. Therefore, this has come as a major shock, even more so because most of us are from middle-class families and we have all trained in government hospitals. And this is next to impossible to even think that somebody who was in a home, away from home, inside their premises, if things happen, people can have problems with each other, things can happen between people outside, but inside the premises of a place which is where you're serving, you haven't even slept till 2 o'clock at night, and you're so brutally murdered, that comes as a major shock. And why does it come as a major shock? Because it has never happened, and we as doctors have never believed that something like this could happen in a place where we work. Number one, where's the safety? Not just women, even men. Where's the safety in a job that we are doing inside the premises that is a home away from home and in a city that we absolutely love to bits? And number two, we want future generations to come to our city, work, good students to come. And that can only happen if this case is treated properly, if the girl gets proper justice. When something happens in a school, what do? You go to your class teacher and then you go to the principal. And you want them to deal with it fairly. And that's all that we are asking for. There is no politics involved in any of the doctors' demands that is happening. And that is what I am trying to represent here. That doctors are very simple people. Most of us come from middle-class families. Right. And we want security and justice for this sister of ours who was murdered so brutally.
Ma'am, thank you for putting out your emotions there. One might say that the state of West Bengal is one of the lowest where the crime against women is concerned, according to NCRB data. But that doesn't take away from the fact, viewers, of the mishandling of this one particular case, which has completely left everyone shocked. Karuna Nandi, appreciate the patience bringing you in. Is it time now, once again, to relook for a larger framework, a law in place where the safety of our doctors come into question?
What Dr. Roy Chaudhary was saying is absolutely spot on. I am ethnically Bengali, even though I was born and raised in Delhi. And Bengal has a very strong history of feminism and safety and freedom, and more importantly, freedom for women. So this case is that much more shocking. And the fact, and let's focus on the particular facts of this case, the fact that this man could have had such a history of violence that never got adjudicated on, that he never got caught for, and he was close to the police, raises some really shocking questions. The fact that he beat his mother, his sister, his wife, and there was never any justice. And I think that we should start asking ourselves now, like, are we going to make a separate law for doctors, a separate law for lawyers, a separate law for women who are walking on the street? Or are we really going to take some root and branch reform efforts? But, I'd like to ask my friends from the TMC and the BJP, what is it that they do except for asking for, what is it their governments do except for asking for the penalty and focusing on PR on particular cases and asking, and saying that, okay, we'll give it to the CBI because, okay, let's let this case out of our hands, let somebody else do it. Where is the freedom for women being guaranteed? Here is a woman who comes off a 36-hour shift and she's napping in the seminar room. And this level of brutality and murder happens by a man who's associated with the police and has committed all sorts of violence prior to this. So there is this line of women before her, and there will be a line of women after her, unless there is this root and branch reform. And do we know what needs to do? We have been talking about this for now decades. It's not rocket science. And yet we do not see either the TMC or the BJP allocating, making a plan. How do we enforce these criminal laws? How do we... we keep saying justice should come to this woman. Justice will not come to this woman. Why? Because she has been brutally raped and killed. Arresting this man here and getting the gang rapists and trying them, even if it's a quick trial, and I disagree with the death penalty because I think it increases violent crime, but even if it's some strong punishment, even if it's a deterrent punishment, will this girl ever get justice? Obviously not. Will her parents ever get justice? Of course not. Will all the people who have worked with her in the hospital and suffer the fear get justice? No. So tomorrow, what I would like to see is, I would like to see a plan by the West Bengal government and, as importantly, by the center. To say, what are you doing to make sure that there is no violence against women?